In this video, we're going to talk about phylum Arthropoda. And these animals are in the superphylum known as Ecdysozoa. They are protostomes. They have bilateral symmetry and they are triploblastic. They have specialized tissues, so they are eumetazoa. And then, of course, they are animals. A couple of features associated with the animals in phylum Arthropoda is that they have jointed legs, which you can see here. They also have tagmata, or different body regions. And so you can see this is a picture of an ant here. And you can see that it has a head region, a thorax, and an abdomen. This is a lobster here. And it has a cephalothorax and an abdomen. And then some have just a head and a trunk. Organisms in the phylum Arthropoda have an open circulatory system. And what this means is they have a structure called a hemocoel. And hemo is kind of a prefix that means blood, or is associated with blood. So you can see in this picture here that there is a blood vessel that is running along the back of the animal. And there are multiple heart-like structures that are able to contract and help move that blood around. But you'll notice that these blood vessels do not form a complete circuit. And so essentially what happens in this kind of middle area here is that the blood ends up kind of mixing with the other fluids inside the body. So it's not a very efficient system, and that the heart isn't sending out oxygenated blood and then bringing back deoxygenated blood. It's more of a oxygen gets into the blood and then it just kind of gets mixed around in the body. There are 4 subphyla associated with the phylum Arthropoda. There's a subphylum Chelicerata, which includes horseshoe crabs, spiders, scorpions, ticks, and mites. Myriapoda, which includes millipedes and centipedes. Crustacea, which includes crabs, lobsters, crayfish, isopods, and barnacles, and the hexapoda, which are more commonly referred to as insects. Animals in the subphylum Chelicerata, remember this refers to horseshoe crabs, spiders, scorpions, ticks, and mites. They get their name from these claw-like or fang-like mouth parts called chelicerae. And so I'm sorry I don't have a closer up picture, but if you've ever taken a close look at a spider or like a tick where it bites you, it has these little fangs that they can basically stick into their prey. And in case you didn't know, this is a horseshoe crab right here. And this is actually the underside of it. So this is kind of the belly. You can see these are the legs here. And then it has this tail. The organisms in the subphylum Myriapoda include centipedes and millipedes. Centipedes are also known as chilopods. They have 1 set of legs per segment, and they are carnivorous. They actually have poisonous claws, and so they can be dangerous. They can actually sting or inject humans with their poison. Millipedes are referred to as diplopoda, and di means 2. And so it has 2 sets of legs per segment. And the millipedes are herbivores and detritivores. And so that means that they eat plants and basically dead organisms. Subphyla Crustacea includes the crustaceans, which includes crabs, lobsters, crayfish, isopods, and barnacles. And so you can see here we've got a crab in this picture. This is a crayfish or crawfish. And this is an isopod, also known as a pillbug. or you might even have heard it referred to as a roly-poly. These organisms are aquatic. They have gills for respiration, so they do have to live in wet environments. Now, pillbugs can live on land, and there are some crabs that also live on land, but they have to be close to a source of water, or they have to be able to moisten their gills on a regular basis. Their shell is referred to as a carapace, and so basically the back of their shell is called a carapace. Subphylum Hexapoda. Hexa should make you think of the number 6. So think of a hexagon has 6 sides. And so animals in the subphylum Hexapoda have 6 legs, and they are more commonly referred to as insects. One interesting thing about insects is to essentially breathe or have gas exchange, they have these spiracles, which are openings in their exoskeleton. You can kind of see that here and here on the picture. And these are openings that essentially connect to the external environment, and they lead to these tubes called tracheae that branch throughout the body. And remember that these organisms have an open circulatory system, and so the oxygen just kind of goes into this hemocoel area where it then gets potentially transported in this blood and kind of moved around the body. If you've ever bought an insecticide to spray like a wasp nest or to kill ants or something like that, a lot of the insecticides actually work by clogging the spiracles, and so it essentially suffocates the insect.